Welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm Dji-ji and this is my channel, Simply Dji-ji. Today I'm going to be making a Nigerian recipe, which is Nigerian red stew or beef stew. And it's a really easy recipe, but there's quite a few steps to it, and then it comes together at the end. So what I've got here, starting off, is I've got my beef, and it's boiling. If you want to take a look, I've added to it a little bit of salt. I've added 1 Maggi cube. I've added an onion. I've added some thyme and some dry basil to it, and it was dry thyme that I added. And we're just gonna let this go ahead and boil. That's the first step. Then the next step you want to do is to make your base for your stew. And what I have here is I've got 1 can, and that's crushed tomatoes. So you want to use crushed tomatoes. It gives the best texture onto the dish. And then I'm gonna blend 1 red onion. I've got some garlic here. I've got 3 habanero peppers. You can leave out the peppers if you don't like spicy food. I happen to like spicy food, and my husband likes really spicy food. So I've got 3 here. And then I've got, this is very important, I've got 2 red bell peppers. You can do just 1 or you can add 2. It just brightens up the color of the dish. Right, so I've added everything to my blender, and I'm just gonna add a bit of water to make the blending easier. You don't want to add too much water because you're going to end up boiling this down. So you just want to go ahead and blend until it's liquefied. Alright, so it has been liquefied, and we are going to go ahead and add this to our tomato mixture. So this was 1 can of crushed tomatoes. You want to just go ahead and pour it in like so. I'm just gonna put a little bit of water in my blender, the rest of it out, not too much. And then what you want to do is you want to mix this thoroughly. I'm just gonna use a spatula or a spoon. You want to mix this, and then you're gonna boil this. You're gonna boil it down. You're basically gonna boil the water out, and you're gonna end up cooking the onions and cooking the raw peppers, so you don't have that raw pepper taste in your stew. I'm gonna go ahead and boil this. It might take about a half an hour on medium heat, and we'll come back to it once it has reduced. So this has been cooking for about 20 minutes right now. As you can see, it's not ready yet. It's getting thicker, but it still has a lot of water in it. So I'm gonna let it boil down. And as you can see, it gets pretty messy. So you do want to put a cover on your tomatoes, or else it's gonna splash everywhere and you're gonna get splashed. I do want to cook this maybe for another 20 minutes. So it's been cooking down for about 45 minutes now. And as you can see, it's really thick, and most of the water has cooked out of it. You can let it cook down a little bit more if you want, but the raw peppers have cooked out of it, and it's going to cook more when you put it all together and add the meat. Alright, it's time to put the stew together. The meat is cooked, it's tender. The tomatoes have boiled down, so we're gonna combine everything and let it steam. So the next step is I cut up 1 large onion. You can use a yellow onion or a Vidalia onion, or you can use red onions, whatever you prefer. I've got some dry basil, some dry thyme. I've got a can of tomato paste, a little bit of salt, and another Maggi cube, because I'm not gonna be using the meat water. So I have a Maggi cube for seasoning. And in this pot here, I have about a cup of oil. I know it seems like a lot, but you're gonna be adding the meat and adding the tomato mixture into it. So I just wanna test my oil and make sure it's hot. It's not hot yet. Just go ahead and give it a minute to warm up. And so the oil, it's not hot. I've added the onion to it, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna let this fry down. Before we do that, I'm just gonna add some thyme. And then I'm gonna add some dry basil. Alright, and you're just gonna stir that up. and let that fry. So this Nigerian beef stew is something that my husband taught me how to make, because I'm not Nigerian, I'm Haitian. He taught me how to make it, but I've added my own twist to it. He thinks that he can supervise me every time I'm cooking it, because he doesn't trust me to make his dish the way it's supposed to be made. I know Nigerians are very sensitive about their red stew, but I've been feeding him for 7 years now, and my stew is very good. So, just want to let you know that. Then we are going to add the Maggi cube to the oil. I'm just going to crumble it. And just fry that in. You don't want any clumps of Maggi, so you just want to try to break it up in the oil. Don't splash yourself like I just did. And I'm going to just add my tomato paste. I'm just going to add the full can. Now this beef stew, it will last, you know, several days. You can eat it with rice, you can eat it with plantains, potatoes, basically whatever it is you want to eat it with. Or you can just feed a large group of people. I just want to get all that off of my spatula. And you want to mix this really well into the oil and allow that to fry up. Okay, so this has fried down. You want to be consistently stirring it because you don't want it to burn. You don't really want clumps. This is the consistency that you are looking for. We're going to add our tomatoes that we had cooked earlier. And at this point, you don't want your fire to be too high because the tomatoes do pop. So you want your heat on like a medium or medium high, and just, you know, scrape the pan. And like I said, usually the tomatoes cook down a bit more to be thicker, but because we're going to be cooking the stew down, that wasn't really necessary. So go ahead and mix your tomatoes in, mix it into the oil. The baby is saying hello to all, apparently, or she wants to go outside, I'm not really sure. And you just want to mix. Incorporate it into the oil, mix really well. As you can see, it's a nice bright red color. This is, I've been told, what makes a good stew. It's got to be that bright red color. That's what makes it appealing. Alright, so at this point we're going to add a little bit of salt to the mixture. And you just want to salt it to your taste. This is a lot of tomatoes in here, so I'm going to add the salt. And like I said, I'm not using the meat water because I used beef. And the meat water is a dark color, and I don't want to darken the stew. So I added a little bit more salt than I normally would have. So I'm just going to taste that. Alright, it tastes fine. So I'm just going to cover it now. I'm just gonna let this cook within itself for about 5 minutes, and then I'm gonna add the meat to it. Okay, so this has been cooking down for about 5 minutes. Again, be very careful because it's popping. It popped me earlier. And now I'm going to start adding my meat. And like I said, you can use any meat you like. You can use goat. What I have here is a combination of beef. I've got some beef, some tripe, some beef heart. Yeah, that's basically it. And then just some cartilage from the beef. and you just want to add your meat in. Alright, so I've added all my meat, and what I'm going to do is just add a hint. This is just a pinch. You don't want too much, you don't want it to overpower, of curry powder into the stew. And we're going to mix this all up. We're going to make sure the meat is all incorporated in. I'm just going to grab this because it's hot. You're going to make sure all your meat is covered. You also want to scrape the bottom as you're doing this. Make sure there's no burnt tomato in there. Make sure the meat is covered with tomatoes. And then you just want to cover this, and you want to let this simmer. You don't want it on high, you want it on like a medium-low heat. You want to let it simmer so that the meat takes on the flavor of the tomatoes, and the tomatoes take on the flavor of the meat. And you want to simmer that for about 20 minutes. So we'll be back in about 20 minutes to check on it. It's stewing for about 15 minutes now. It's basically done, and this is what you want. You want a nice thick consistency. You want the meat to be done, and you want to see a little bit of oil on the top. So we're going to turn our fire off. So our Nigerian stew is done. We're gonna plate it up in a little while. I just want to remind you to consistently stir this because the tomatoes will get burned if you don't, and you don't want burnt stew. So hopefully it's approved by my Nigerian husband. But let's just take a look real quick. Let's just take a look at him. He thinks I can't make Nigerian food, but this soup, this eggplant stew that I made, look at his mouth. Look at his mouth, people. Look at his mouth. Look at his mouth.
Kudos
Look at his mouth.
to my wife. Kudos.
All right.
Yummy.
All right, we'll plate it. All right, so our Nigerian beef stew is all set, and it's all plated up. I've paired it with some fried plantains, little cucumber, and fried sweet potato. You can eat this with rice. You can eat it with boiled plantains, potatoes, whatever it is you want. So try my recipe out, like it, subscribe to my channel, share it, and just enjoy.